Hi, my name is Ben Sutter III, and I'm founder and owner of BS3 Radio. I've been podcasting for 5 years, and with BS3 Radio, it has grown to over 46,000 listens and downloads. I've helped hundreds of people to start a podcast by giving them the knowledge, tools, and confidence to be successful. Now I'm here to help you do the same with BS3 Coaching. So let's build a successful podcast. I will be your podcast coach. We'll be able to work one-on-one. I won't be giving you a booklet and just telling you to look over it, but we'll be working one-on-one, side by side, to either help build up a successful podcast or to take your podcast to the next level. So click the link above or below to check out the pricing. I look forward to working with you, and God bless. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Fourcast with myself, Dawkins, HRap, and Wilks. Tonight, as you can see behind me, we will be reviewing Judas and the Black Messiah. I think a groundbreaking movie, a well-done movie, and we will get into talking about the movie, and we will have a deeper perspective. HRap is in Chicago, actually down the block from where Chairman Fred Hampton was murdered. Also, he has family members also were in the Black Panther Party. So we will get into this topic hot and heavy here. Let's bring in HRap himself. What's going on? Doc?
What's up with it, man? How y'all doing? What's up, HRap?
What's up, bro? Good to see you, man.
And Wilks, what's going on?
Whoa, wow. We're sipping on a little brown drink over there.
It's one of the movies, man.
It must got him feeling some kind of way.
Man, I got to get it through.
Love it.
All right. So we got the crew here. Each and every week, we review a movie or we talk about a topic. We all have different perspectives. We're all different ages. So, I mean, we really get into the topics and we dive deep into them. Before we move forward, Benita A. Whitfield, the artist formerly known as
yes,
or known as Benita, thank you for coming through. Vernon Ricks, thank you for coming through. He said HRap, he says Silk. I don't know who he calling Silk.
Wilks, probably.
Wilks, maybe. DJ Knox, thank you for coming through. He said, I think that's Doc, probably what he said.
He must be drinking the same stuff Wilks drinking because his spelling is a little off.
Your spelling is a little off. Miss Powell, thank you for coming through. She said, hey, fellas, thank you. All right, so let's get into the initial thoughts of the movie. I'll kick it off. I thought it was very well done. And the title, you know, me and HRap were talking about this. The title says it all. It's Judas and the Black Messiah. So it was, you know, Daniel Cooley had an important role, but Lakeith Stanfield, if he don't get an award, I'm gonna mail him an award. I'm gonna find out what his address is. He could get a certificate or something from me and from this show, man, because that guy is a superb actor. You talk about Atlanta, you talk about this, you talk about some of the other things he's been in. Get Out, exactly. But I thought it was well done, and I thought it gave you a kind of an inside look at what happened. Obviously, the story is not going to be exact, but I thought it gave you a real glimpse of Bill O'Neal and the story of him and Chairman Fred Hampton. So we'll go to you, Wilks.
Yeah, I really like the way it was done. Of course, I've just been captivated on what happened to the FBI agent. You know, it's like, why is there not a lot of information out there? I mean, I've been looking, I've been searching, I've been reading certain things. I mean, I haven't found much on him. At one point, when I typed his name in, they made it seem like it was a fictional character. On one post I saw, and then I saw something where he passed in 2002 or 2000 at the age of 66. So it's 2004. Thanks, HRap. It was just one of those things that was kind of weird. There was not a lot of information on him. And I did catch that Eyes on the Prize interview with William O'Neal. I checked that out too. And I don't know. That brother seemed pretty proud of himself. I can't imagine he would just out in traffic up and commit suicide. But yeah, I thought the movie was done very nice. I thought it was done very well. It was really good.
Yeah, and we'll dive into that Eyes on the Prize in a minute. If you have not seen that, the people tuning in, that would put this whole thing all together if you see that. All right, Doc, we'll go to you.
I hated it, man. No, I'm kidding. But, we have to have the protagonist every week, so I figured this week it wasn't going to be one. So I just get that shot in quickly. But no, obviously the project was well done. Shout out to Warner Brothers and Warner Media for taking on the project and whatnot. So I thought it was well done. And when somebody spoke about the awards, and I think it's a couple of folks that should be up for some awards in this, man. I thought they did a fantastic acting job, Lakeith Stanfield and the brother that played, the Chairman Fred Hampton. I think both of them did a fantastic job, man. They really did.
Yeah.
So, I think they put their foot in there. Actually up for best supporting role, I think.
In this, is he?
Yeah, he's nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
He should be. He should be. He should get it. All right, HRap will go to you.
I mean, after watching this movie, shout out to my number one on my favorite movies list. It's just so many intricacies about what's going on, about what went on. A lot of people disappointed, and I was disappointed in them because they thought this was a Black Panther movie, and it's not. But I'm with you guys, Lakeith Stanfield and all the brother. I mean, everybody did a great job at what they were doing. You got a peek inside Chicago back in the day. I was impressed, and this is not really what you asked me, but I was kind of disappointed in Spike Lee because it's like this dude tells the story a lot better, and it was like, man, I wish he could have done Malcolm X, and that's my number 2 movie. This knocked it down to number 2, but I was like, wow, even though, it's just like, man, the evolution of Black cinema is amazing at this point. I'm really enjoying.
It may not be too late. They could probably go back and redo a Malcolm X or another version or a spin on it. I don't know.
Or get my man to do a Netflix series or something, bro.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Hey, Netflix is shoveling out money, okay? And I'm not talking about small amounts.
Yeah.
I'm talking about truckloads full of money for all type of projects. So
they made $25 billion last year.
Yeah, and hey, and if you're sharing passwords right now, our people get ready. You ain't gonna be sharing along. They're gonna crack down. They looking for you.
Yeah,
you got about 90 more days.
clock ticking. We got to get a ticker.
Yeah.
But the movie, man, very well done. But the title kind of says it all. When I was watching the movie, I was wanting to get more of Fred Hampton, but the movie started with Bill O'Neill portraying a cop. Let's go to that first scene, which I thought, him going into that bar, he shows the badge, and then eventually he talks about that with the FBI agent. But he goes in there and he shows that badge, and people are like, oh, maybe he's serious. And then he runs out. He ends up taking the car. But that kind of first scene, it was funny. It was like you didn't know what to expect. And seeing the preview, you see him running and jumping over a car, which I thought that was very well done because you didn't know why he was doing that. And then you seen the movie, you knew like he was a car thief. That was his thing. So, Doc, I'll go to you first. That first scene kind of really, hit in the beginning of the movie. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, it slaps you in the face right away. And if you're not paying any attention, you pay attention right after that. I pay attention to the little things. So the way he was smoking that cigarette before he went in the bar was impressive to me. He's smoking like he smoked, He even flicked it the right way, So yeah, it was a pretty impressive scene, and he stood out in that role. You know how when you see LeBron James, in high school play against those other kids, you were like, man, that's a man amongst boys. Even in that scene, Lakeith Stanfield was a man amongst boys because the rest of those actors in there couldn't hold the candle. The scene would have been much better with better actors, but you can't have 10 Lakeith Stanfields, Right. But it again from the beginning, it got your attention and said, "Here we go."
Yeah, it really grabbed you. Like, okay, this is only the beginning. Like you can't wait to see what's happening after this. All right, HRap, and also give us if you got some background to this because we're gonna be really leaning on you tonight, being that you.
It's not really any background to that. That's just that was just setting the pace for the movie. I agree with Dawg. I'll let you know in the private chat. Yeah, that would be it. But I really appreciate it. It created the character of basically Wild Bill, as they call him.
Mm-hmm.
It showed you. It gave you backstory. It gave you what led to this point. And as you stated at the top of the program, Judas. This is the story of Judas. It laid the foundation for the story of Judas.
So what you're trying to say then is, unlike the last movie we reviewed, the opening scene actually had a point to it. Is what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
Well,
we finally,
before, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, this is gonna be the first movie that we all can agree on and enjoy. Because the past two, man, we were crisscrossing. We were pointing fingers at each other.
I thought the Fourcast was going to break up already. We just done.
the lead singer. I'm about to give you two other guys that look like y'all. Right. All right. Wilks, we'll go to you.
Yeah. Once again, I just thought it was a big scene. Now, like I said, and I'll back up even further than that. The Black Panther movies and the Black Panther documentaries and stories, it casted a shadow over him because they didn't talk a lot about the informant. So I didn't know if he was already with the FBI or, maybe they picked him up. So seeing that scene, him with the badge, and I didn't know it was fake. I'm just thinking, well, they got him working all kinds of undercover stuff. So, I wasn't really sure about it. But that scene, I mean, just the way it was played, the trench coat and everything. I mean, he's walking up there like he really got something to say. Like, hey, y'all in trouble. Y'all know where y'all got this car from? It was just the delivery of that part and the way the movie and just everything was done well. I mean, from the costumes to the cars, the setting, the wardrobe. I mean, it was just awesome. It really set it up. I thought it was really good. It was done really well.
Yeah. That was a perfect lead in to the movie. And now I'm just thinking about this. Not only did he betray the Black Panther Party, but he betrayed his own people going in there and basically like setting them up. Instead of selling the dude's car, like, that's my car. What you mean I got the car from somewhere else? I mean, so that was a very, very interesting intro to it. Now we kind of fast forward a little bit to the time he's with the FBI agent. And that was, we can only imagine how many times that happens today. And rewinding backwards. And then the key question, which I want to touch on, is when he asked him about Martin Luther King, and he was like, yeah, I mean, it didn't, it was almost like, I mean, it didn't really affect me, but yeah, I knew what happened. And I thought at that moment, they were like, we got our guy. He has no like moral compass to who he really is or to his sin color. And they said, okay, you're the guy. Let me tell you what we're about to do, or else you can go to jail. And who knows how long he would have really went to jail. But he scared the crap out of him. He scared him into putting him in this spot. But it was like, you read people. And I think the FBI agent clearly read this guy like, this is the guy, because he is someone that can betray his own people because he may not really care about the another form of a Messiah and Martin Luther King being dead. So, HRap, I'm going to go to you first. That scene, which I thought was really monumental in this story, too.
Yeah, I mean, it was. It shows that if you don't have any self-pride and self-identity, you won't have any self-worth. And this may be off the beaten path a bit, but, this whole thing, like when you guys are outside of Chicago, and then this whole thing about no snitching. And, this is the crux of what the no snitching thing really is about. The no snitching has nothing to do with Ben seeing HRap steal the tires off Wilks' car and call the police. The no snitching thing is Ben, well, HRap still, Ben sees me. I'm still in the tires off the car. I call the police and I go, well, Doc gonna help me fence him. That's the crux of the look. You don't want to go to do the whole deal, you know.
Right.
As our ancestor, what's Sammy Davis Jr. saying in the Beretta thing, don't do the crimes, you can't do the time. If he was true to the no snitching thing, he goes, well, I'm still in cars, faking federal police officers. That's what I got to do.
Yeah.
And it just shows you that, again, as you pointed out, that point, hey, if you're going to do the crime, do the time. The second and most important point is it shows you where we were as a community mentally. Because how could you, let's get this straight. Bonita, what is her name? Bonita Cruz? Bonita King. Bonita King, Martin Luther King's daughter. I'm saying her name right. Bonita King. She even posted on Twitter that Martin Luther King holiday. You people didn't even hardly like my dad. You're looking at a dude with Martin King who had a 60% disapproval rate at the day of his death.
Wow.
Our brother, a same ancestor, Brother Malcolm, the same thing. So if you're not affected by someone who was annihilated and removed from Earth, their removal, and this is a dude, okay, I can see you not being tremendously upset when Malcolm X is murdered, because Malcolm X, the propaganda that was around Malcolm X was he was violent. This dude, his whole life was hands off, take whatever comes your way and pray your way through it. When he gets hurt, if you're still not affected, then as you stated, you're the guy we can get to sell out anybody, because you have no alliances to anything or anyone. You are just a human being walking around blind. So, because I would argue, even though I wasn't there, it was 2 years before I even came to an existence, I would argue that even if you are part of that 60% that didn't like MLK, when he was murdered, it had to bother you in some way. So he's the dictionary definition of that question that we keep asking that is actually unanswerable. Why is there so much black on black crime? Because of guys like my man Wild Bill.
Yeah. All right, Doc, we'll go to you.
Yeah, hearing HRap's response on that just reminds me today, I'm going to try to be quiet as much as I can so he can talk as much as he can today, because I need to hear this brother today. Yeah. But, when he was talking, what it reminded me of is that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right?
Right.
He stood for nothing, right? In addition, there's a part of that scene that was interesting to me that caught my attention. He was bloody over the eye. So what they had showed that they put them hands on him before they got him in there, because the brothers he stole the ride from, they couldn't get to him. The only thing they did was cut the top on the car, but they didn't put hands on him. So obviously the cops did. So that was another factor, a driving factor in his decision making, right? In addition to that, when you tell a brother, we done seen it on 48 Hours, on all these cop shows, when they say, or you can go home, like, that's an option.
Yeah. What I gotta do? Do?
Tell me about that option. So, yeah, interesting scene.
Yeah. All right, Wilks.
Yeah, we're just kind of piggybacking off of what's already been said. I mean, all he needed to hear was what was in it for him, just to dangle something in front of him, because like he said, he already came in with no alliance, no allegiance to anything. It's like, how can I better myself, whether it be stealing or taking a deal or, screwing you in the end, but I got my part of it. That's all I'm concerned about. So it was just one of those scenes where it was just so easy, for him, like, oh, y'all not going to book me for none of this? Okay, well, what I got to do, deliver some pizzas, hold some people up. It's one of those things where it's just like, if you are just baited in by something that small, but yet he doesn't know the consequences on the back end of it, it's becoming bigger than what he is. In that moment, it's just like, yeah, they dangled all this in front of you. They invited you over to dinner and all this, and next thing you know, man, this wasn't part of the deal. I did my part. I don't want to do this, but it's too late now. You know, they already got you brainwashed and got you in.
You in too deep, and this is a direct correlation to the Central Park 9 and what they went through, because they were in there for so long. It was like they were, if you want to go home, just say you did this.
Right.
But that wasn't it, though. They didn't get to go home. Now, in this situation, obviously he got to go home and he pretty much lived out his life. We'll get to that, later on. But that's kind of a direct correlation. That's how you treat it when you get put into a hole and you kind of got limited choices. It depends on who. Now that's a clear definition of who you are. You really are, deep down. So in that scene, it was almost like I said, we got our man. He's going to now help us infiltrate the Black Panther Party in Chicago. So then it introduces Fred Hampton, and he's given the speech. You're getting to know him. You're getting to see him. You're getting to see what they do. And so, HRap, I'm gonna go to you. Talk about kind of O'Neal kind of coming into the fold, and then he ends up getting a role as security. Like that kind of shocked me. I don't know if I should or should not be shocked, but he was really playing his role. He was playing his role well, but I don't know. Did they not have? It was almost like they didn't have anybody else, so they chose him, or was it just because he was continuing to prove himself? So I kind of want you to touch on that.
I would actually say this is a combination of both, because this isn't like NAACP where you probably have to have some form of college education. This is a group of people who are between the ages of probably like 25 and 19. Think about it. The chairman is Fred Hampton at age 22. Mm-hmm. The chairman in Peoria, Mark Clark, who people kind of gloss over all the time as if he didn't die. He was 20. He was 21. Mm-hmm. So we're not talking about deep thinkers. These are people who are learning on the fly, and not to diminish any of their acumen or intelligence or anything of that nature. It's basically to say, hey, this is a situation. We are trying to improve our communities. We are trying to do everything we can do. And if somebody comes along that can do something, then yeah, we will allow you to come in. But what we will do is put you through this rigorous process that 99 times out of 100, had Bill come in as a citizen, he'd quit. Remember, he was ready to quit at the push-ups.
He was ready to quit when they were in class, and they just telling them to stop talking to the women.
Exactly. So I would trust them too, because man, we were whipping on your ass, and you said, "So what? I'm good. I'm down. I'm with it." So all the things that will weed out a 21, 22-year-old dude, because he didn't want to go down to downtown to the federal penitentiary downtown Chicago. He was like, "Okay, let's go," So I don't think it was a bad thing or an oversight. It's just like with us. If we brought in somebody next week and he knew all the stuff we were talking about, and he knew, but he had an ulterior motive, we wouldn't see it, because hey, well, he's on point. He's laughing and joking with us. This is the purpose of the show, and that's what he was doing.
And so we wouldn't notice it until he sends a bomb to one of our addresses or something. Right. We're like, oh, that was James. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's a great point, and you kind of really hit a great point. It wasn't as if they had people like lining up to come he was recruiting. They did a lot. I think, and this is my perspective, a lot of these speeches that Fred Hampton, Chairman Fred, was doing was recruiting speeches as well as encouraging speeches. So it's kind of like with when we you talk about Jesus, like he was giving a speech, but he was also like, "Come follow me." So that was kind of a similar situation. But Wilks, I'll go to you if you want to
Yeah, I just want to add something here because it's funny you were just mentioning that and how you were saying like, and HRap was just saying like we wouldn't know if somebody came into the fold and I was watching something I think that was on PBS and it was about the Black Panther Party and they were saying like people want to denounce them so quickly and call them radical, but like they said in the beginning, we started food banks, we started teaching our own, but unfortunately we didn't have the people doing the checks and balance that had alternative motives and coming in with different agendas, our opportunists, if you will. So it's one of those things where it's like we're here, yes, to talk about the brutality. Yes, we're here to talk about the things we're not getting, but we're not policing the people that are coming into the fold, and they're just here to just say, hey, these guys got guns. Let's go get guns. Okay, well, I'm gonna go police this corner. But what are you doing throwing Molotovs through the front window of the pawn shop? That's not what we're about. We're not rioting. We're not terrorists. So now they're going to label us as terrorists or this radical group of people. So going back to Wild Bill and him being, pretty much indoctrinated into one of the closest, highest ranks, who would suspect the security chief? It's just one of those things where you have no way, no checks and balance to know what his motive is. If he's, like you said, he's smoking that cigarette like he's been smoking. Right. Like, we can't tell the difference. He's been lifting cars forever. So it's just one of those things where it's just like you just don't know what happens at that point when you just allow something to come in and just to eat you from the inside, just tear you down slowly. It was a crazy thing, but it just reminded me of that while I was watching that documentary. We mentioned that you just don't know who's coming in to tear you from the inside. So
right. You don't know. I think there's a saying: you don't know the devil next to you, or you don't know the devil beside you, or something. And I mean, it was, to me, it was like one of these movies where, like, obviously the ending. So you're like, man, I just hope one of them, it's like a horror movie. You're like, watch out over there. Yeah. You're putting something in your drink over here. You letting these people get murdered. You letting these people get murdered as you're watching the movie, but obviously there's no good ending to this movie because you know what happened. Doc, you want to add anything on to that?
Yeah, a couple of things. Number one, they did a good job of setting up how William Wild Bill O'Neal kind of infiltrated the group. He paid his dues early. He was, making some small repairs in the kitchen. He was feeding, he was volunteering on the food line. He was doing some things, to pay his dues. One of the things that we don't know is the length of time it took from the time he first showed up to the meeting to the time he, ended up as security chief. They didn't necessarily make that plain, and, you'd have to do some of your own research to figure that out. But to piggyback on what Wilks said is that, this is a community organization. They called it, they self-described them as we're a group that is about the self-determination of Black people. And the FBI at the beginning, I guess it was the guy who portrayed Hoover, he even said, he goes, the Black Panthers is the single biggest threat to national security, not because of the violence, not because they got AK-47s over there, not because, but because of their ability to unite other organizations, people of non-Blacks and whatnot. That's why they were considered dangerous, because he knew he could bring people together. So that was significant to me.
Yeah, and one of the most dangerous quote unquote things is bringing a group of people together to tear down the government, the establishment. Exactly, that's what I was looking for. They hate that to the 10th degree. Even if you're feeding kids, even if you're doing something positive in the community, even if you're teaching men or boys to be men and girls to be women. I mean, like it's just, to me, it's just sick. And we all know, kind of the history and how things have happened throughout these years. Shout out to Big Illinois. Thank you for tuning in. As you guys are coming through, let us know how you feel about the movie. Did you like it? Give us your thoughts and opinions. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and click that bell. If you haven't seen it by now, I'm sorry for you.
Hey, let me add one more thing, Ben. It's just a bit about the organization and organizations overall, and educate some of the people about some of the things those good brothers did. a perfect example, if you guys have seen Who Shot Malcolm X on Netflix.
I haven't finished it. I started it.
Okay, you started it. Doc, you should check it out. It's very excellent. Hell, you got federal agents sneaking in there.
Yep.
In the Nation of Islam, and they were around way longer than the Black Panthers. So that just lets you know that it just takes one bad apple, so to speak. And another thing, I just want to bring this to our folks, our young people's attention, and some of our brothers and sisters at our age. The Black Panther Party, self-defense, is the reason you have the WIC program. You know, the program that feed the babies and sisters milk and cereal. Black Panther Party also the reason that it's Braille on elevators.
Yeah,
they instituted that. They are also the reason that you have disabled parking at the front of most of your malls and shopping centers. So, to like you said, this is not a terrorist organization. This is a group of young people who say, "Hey, things could be better."
Right. We want better.
Yeah.
We want better, and we're going to push for it to be better. We're not going to sit back and wait. That's the difference between different methods of going about, getting what you want. Now let's touch on the relationship between which Wilks, I think you touched on this relationship between O'Neal and the FBI agent. It started to almost get maybe not fatherly like, but it started to get like you're my friend. Like, I'm gonna have you over to my house. I'm gonna show you like some things that maybe you haven't had before. And then when you get uncomfortable and you say you don't want to do this anymore, I'm gonna bring up like, hey, you could go to jail. So I'm the good and bad for you. But I wanted to kind of touch on that because that relationship started to kind of flourish. And even when it started to get, really kind of mentally draining for O'Neal, that was the guy he went to. Like, he called him. He didn't have anybody he could talk to. That's the other part of this. He was isolated. I didn't see him, dating anybody. They didn't show that. I didn't see him talking to his parents. I didn't see him talking to any friends. Like, that was his friend. That was his dad. That was his mom. That was his confidant. That was pretty much everything. So in order for him to make it through this and to do what they were telling him to do, he had to talk to this guy, which even brought him in even deeper. So, HRap, I'm gonna go to you on that.
I liken that to Stockholm syndrome. He was being held hostage by the FBI. He wouldn't go. They knew he didn't want to go to jail, so he's gonna be held hostage by us doing our bidding. So, what do you do when you have Stockholm syndrome? You befriend and defend your captors. I mean, a lot of people suffer from that in our community to this very day. So I just looked at it like Stockholm syndrome, and I'm trying to be, with this portion of my ass, I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible, but he was a sucker, man, and I don't want to build up any empathy for him. And it makes me sound like a jerk, and I understand it, and I'm not getting emotional due to my attachment. I'm disappointed, and I'm gonna speak on this on my show tomorrow, at how gullible we are at items. The bag. Yeah. This is the root cause of the bag, as you stated. I'm gonna go over your house and you got a nice house, you got a nice cocktail table, you got a nice ride, and you got a big TV. What you do to get this? All I gotta do, and then and then I'm sure you're gonna touch on it at the end. I'm gonna bring up this portion again, and it's just sad, man. It disturbs me that we're so gullible as a community. We chasing things. At the end of the day, man, chasing things got us over here. Some of our brothers and sisters, you could be from Nairobi and you can go to Botswana. You help the people capture the people of Botswana because you don't see the same, because we're different, and they're giving me things. And then you come over here and 1771, they enact Meritos manumission. You can have your freedom if you snitch on a slave revolt, if you make a white man's life easier, or if you save a white man's life, you can get money and your freedom. Things. And here we are, hundreds of years later, we still doing the same thing. So more than just being upset with Wild Bill, it's just, Jesus, man, the bananas in the tailpipe, bro. Check the car, bro.
Right. Go around to the back and look.
Right.
Right.
And I was on another show where we reviewed this movie, the Ear Hustling Podcast. They're a part of BS3 Radio, and one of the guests on there was saying, well, if you think about Bill and you think about his background, and you think about what choices he had, and I was like, yeah, I get all that, but you set up an organization that you had nothing to do with. You had zero plans on joining. They were doing something right, and Fred Hampton was about to go back to jail. So it wasn't as if he was about to run away, and we'll get to that point in a minute. But it wasn't like he was about to run. The dude was about to go to jail, and he's seen the entire landscape of what they do. So to me, to be that type of person, man, you got to be just a ruthless type of person, and you got to be weak. You got to be like there's a bunch of adjectives that we can come out with, but yeah, to see that relationship, and then you get towards the end, and he's like, okay, I'm done. And then you come to find out that he was still in this beyond when Fred Hampton was
72.
He was in this for a long time. So it's sickening, because who knows? Chairman Fred would have been murdered at some point, but it didn't have to happen. It honestly didn't have to happen this way. It could have happened a different way. He could have went back to jail. Who knows what the rest of his life would have been? And that just goes back to his life was stolen by a sucker, like you said, HRap, pretty much. All right.
And maybe he would have been, because Bobby Seale's still alive.
That's true.
He down there with you. Teach.
Yeah. You're right. Doc, I'll go to you.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to touch on, we kind of talked about them infiltrating. Well, when Chairman Fred got out of prison the first time, and it was at one of his speeches, he was talking about how they could be here right now. Well, that happened to be the same meeting, if I'm not mistaken, that the FBI agent was there, so you technically had at least two there, right? The FBI agent and Mr. O'Neill. So, as far as the relationship goes, and you talk about chasing the bag, HRap, I promise you, if you're chasing the bag, chances are you're not going to get it, or you're not going to sustain it, one of the two. If you're chasing it, if that's what your ultimate agenda is, it ain't going to work out that way. You do the things that you need to do that are sound practices consistently, and you will achieve what you need to achieve, right? But if chasing the bag is your ultimate motive, if that's your agenda, if that's the number one item on your agenda, it ain't happening. I promise you it ain't. But if you do things the right way, it's gonna come, if that's what the end result is. But yeah, he feeding homeboy steaks at the nicest steak restaurant. Did you hear? He started doing this when he wanted to refill.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You had a place to where I didn't see nobody else that looked like you in there. So they made him feel comfortable in looking just in acting and whatever, just like them, until at the end, toward the end, where he reminded him exactly who you are.
Right.
It's like, hey, don't come in there acting funny now. Hey, yeah, you're going to do what we say you're going to do. Don't you go end up back over there, and this ain't over with. We called the shots. You've been in there snapping at waiters and you need a refill and you need some more steak sauce and you need whatever the case may be, like you the dude, but no, we got you by the balls. You ain't the dude.
Right. I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay.
Hey, you know what, dog? I really, I don't know you that well. But I know that you just told honest to God truth simply because you had an opportunity to chase the bag 2 weeks ago and did.
Mm-hmm.
And your exact words were, "Nah, man, I gotta maintain, and I have a client base. It'll be cool to get $100 million. But I'm gonna chase this million. I'm gonna get this million. I'm gonna stay in my pocket.
Right.
Not that I didn't respect you before that, but I was. You never knew it up until this moment. I was like, man, that's a real brother right there."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ironically, what's funny about it, man, some of the folks we work with, when I say they've called and they've said, I'm in over my head. When I say they made that mistake of actually going after stuff that because it was out there and it's like, oh, I better get all, I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. That was not the route to go. I knew that was going to end poorly for them. Because you can't have it all. You don't have the resources. You're not built for that. You know, so, you know, that's just like me. I'm not going to go say I'm going to go pick up this truck right here and I'm going to lift it and carry it across the street. I'm not built for that. That'll kill me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to break my back. I'm going to, you know, whatever the case may be. So from a business standpoint, it's the exact same way. From a human sustainability standpoint, stay in your lane and be good at that. Drive as straight as you possibly can. Be good at your lane. And quit trying to get in some other folks' lane, because you're gonna not only mess yourself up, you're probably gonna mess them up too.
Right. Amen. You can knock them off track.
Yeah.
They would mind their own business. Shout out to Just Joe. Thank you for coming through. Also, Nisha Bunkley, thank you for coming through as well. Big Illinois says
Naisha. Everybody says name. Naisha.
Yeah, I'm hey, look, disclaimer.
Yeah, we gonna start, you're gonna start passing it out for us to say the name instead of you, because you be jacking it up, man. Hey, this ain't the first time. HRap just calls you this time.
Disclaimer, I need to put that at the bottom. I will mess up your name, okay? Give me a nickname that I can pronounce. Or we gotta go to one of y'all for the names. But Big Illinois says, great, looking forward to more projects from Shaka. All right, here we go right here. Don't chase the bag.
Let me say this name.
Thank you. We're going to you.
Wanga.
Yeah. Wanga. Thank you.
Yeah. You the silent.
The alterator. You can be the alterator of the names.
I got you.
Don't chase the bag.
Oh, he gonna kill it. I knew you weren't gonna
be HRap, we need to let him say it so we can have some more comic relief. Let him say it, man.
Hey, I'm gonna mess it up. I know. All right, so you know, Doc, you really hit the nail on the head talking about chasing the bag, because that is the thing now. It doesn't matter how you get it, and when you do get it, what are you doing with it? Like that's the other part of this. Like, say you get the bag.
That's it, man. That
you get the bag.
You look at here. You know what, man? You want to be honest? That's a show on its own, right there. If you want to know the truth, that is you know how long we can go on that. You know, I mean, heck, in rap music right now, it's females talking about selling the most precious of possessions that they have, and I'm talking about their private places, just simply because you get the bag. You know, and look at here, man.
Maybe that's the next topic.
Look at here.
But what do you do with it? Because it's especially in the music industry, they're giving out bags, but there is what's the word I'm looking for? There is attachments to that bag.
Yeah,
like you get a percentage of that bag
with a price.
Right, exactly. There's like this 360 deal is what it's called, I believe, where you sign this deal, and the record label or whoever gets a part of all of it. Your touring, the record sales, you getting a percentage. So kind of going back to Bill O'Neal, he was working. He wasn't the man. He was working for a guy. The FBI agent still
wasn't even the man.
It was J. Edgar Hoover was the man that was really calling the shots, and the FBI agent he even started to get a little scrimmage about what he was doing a little bit at certain points when he talked about his, you know, what if
your daughter,
what if a Negro comes to your door, and he's like, well, I mean, he won't. He was like, what if he does? It was like, I mean, I don't know. It's like he didn't even think about that part.
He was getting played too.
Exactly. Like it was a lot of people getting played, and the leader, I mean, the guy that was at the top that was calling all the shots, and it was like, you know, the godfather or the boss, you could say, was J. Edgar Hoover. That was the guy. And everybody else was just playing a role, whether they wanted to or not.
And how much dirt? We need to do a show on Hoover. How much dirt that boy done been in? And I said it that way intentionally. How much dirt that boy done been in?
Hey man, how about this? You get all this hooting and hollering last year about Confederate statues. Why is J. Edgar Hoover name still on them buildings downtown? In every city in every state in America. Right.
Yep. Wilks.
I don't even want no Hoover vacuum no more. I'm throwing it away. Give me a minute. Let me go to this closet right quick.
But yeah, so just kind of going back to what you said earlier, Ben, what I was reading on this Roy M. Mitchell, they were saying that he was becoming a father figure for Wild Bill from stuff that I was trying to find, but it's just not a lot out there about that FBI agent. But it was just moments where, he's at the house, he's sitting on the couch, he's asking him, how did you get these nice things?
Right.
He's going back to that thing again. He's easily captured by material things. Like, how do I get this lavish life, or how it looks lavish, but you don't know the prices that come with it. You're going to sell your soul to gain that? I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, maybe some of these people would have still been been alive, or maybe they would have, I don't know, been in prison. I don't know the case, but the thing is like, how are you that easily distorted with words and material things? Got you like Dawkins said, you up here snapping for A1 sauce and medium rare steak. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, you're not running that. And that's why I was making that comment. It's like, I'm not black, I'm OJ. You still black, brother. So don't think it.
Yeah, you still black. And don't worry, they got what they wanted. And you went in jail for stealing.
What's ironic on it, what he did, there's a term that they use in law enforcement, whether it be the CIA, whether it be the FBI, whether it be your local police department. They used it on shows such as The Wire, NYPD Blue. Basically, what he did was turn him. That's what they talk to about. Hey, I got this guy I'm trying to turn. And they know it's a slow play. And basically how they do that is get inside his psyche and see, or her psyche, depending on who they're trying to turn, and figure out what's gonna make them move, what's gonna make what's they deal, what's they thing, So whenever he was serving him scotch at the house, he was giving him his best scotch. He was like, hey, the good stuff is under there. The other stuff is from my regular guests. Right. When you tell somebody that, that's a seed that you plant that's gonna be working when you gone.
Right.
That's, I mean, again, I would say he's somewhere between a preacher and a pimp. Do you follow what I'm saying? Because that's what he's doing. He pimping him. Pimped him.
Yeah, exactly. Legally. Exactly. Kat said he felt the agent was a father figure. Shaking my head. Yeah. Now I can say this name, Chrisman. Welcome.
But hey, he said it slow though, HRap. He didn't say it. He didn't spit it out. He sounded it out like he was in kindergarten still.
I gotta pronounce it. Pronounce the words. Move your lips. I had to do that one. So now, when it comes down to Bill O'Neill's getting deep into this, he's starting to feel some type of way. And I think that goes back to, again, chasing the bag. What's the consequences? He was having nightmares, but he was still doing it. So even if you had some type of conscience, that conscience didn't switch over to you doing the right thing. But I wanted to touch on that because that was, I would say that could have been a turning point, but it was not. He just basically brushed it off his shoulder and kept going. So, HRap, I'm gonna go to you first.
Again, it goes back to the don't want to be accountability, lack of accountability, because your conscience is your inter accountability. That's you holding yourself accountable for what you're doing. Right. But the reality of it was he's a coward. Because look, man, I'm not. You know what, man? I've done some things that are less than desirable in my life. Thank God that I was never apprehended for those deeds. But it's this term that you use when you are doing less than desirable things. I'm not gonna cop out in the car, and that's telling everybody, hey, what you got for me? Hey, man,
right?
This and if you are going to jaywalk, then when they give you the citation, look at the old lady. Nah, man,
right.
And it just shows the type of cowardly behavior that a lot of people have, man. That bag, again, goes back to the bag. Those 30 pieces of silver, the lady and the gentleman that's at Georgetown last week that were disrespecting our folks. Don't fire them. No, you walk around here and you deal with that. The original Judas. No, don't kill yourself, homie.
Right.
We need you to walk around in this.
Yeah.
No apologies will be accepted, but nobody. It's the way. It's what we do. It's I'm sorry. It's cool, and then you get a pass. I say, especially with our community, I say I'm not accepting any more apologies for blatant disrespect. A mistake, an offense, I'm cool with that. You could be ignorant to what offends me. We're gonna, we guessing every day anyway. You're gonna learn. Right. Mistakes will happen.
Yeah.
But blatant disrespect like those people were doing, and like Bill is doing, how Bill was doing, nah, buddy, you got to walk around in this.
Right.
No suicide. We gonna get the community should pay for 24-hour suicide watch on you. You got to walk around and live in this mess that you create.
Right.
So it just shows, man. We always taking the easy way out. And don't get me wrong, man. As I stated, I fractured a few laws in my day, and I love it. Thank God. Like Ben said, and people, thank God Jesus and for more white people, I ain't get caught. But had I got caught, it's easy for me to say that 25, 30 years later. But I honestly believe I'd have just said, all right, man.
Yeah.
You gotta take me down. But but it's another thing I'm gonna talk about on the show tomorrow. So,
Doc?
Yeah, that when he brought up the original Judas, man, we talking about securing the bag. What did them 30 pieces of silver come in?
Right.
They came in that bag.
Right.
He secured the bag, but you couldn't live with it at the end of the day. Yeah. And that's just what it is, man. You can't live with it. You may be able to live a while. And see, to me, one of the reasons why Wild Bill was able to live a while with it is because the spotlight wasn't shining on it. But once that spotlight got to shining on it, that's when you couldn't handle it. It was what if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it when part 2 was released that same night is when he quote unquote off himself?
Yeah. Said it was the same night.
No.
Eyes on the prize.
It was the week it was released. Yeah. But again, I don't believe that.
It was
one day you're gonna come to Chicago and I'm gonna show you what he allegedly did.
Right. And he didn't got you.
What's I know in Houston they got in the South y'all got those freeways that go up over you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you go up there to kill yourself?
Right, when you got traffic below.
Right, I can just walk in front of a bus, you'd be just as dead. We got DJ in the building. I got you, Ben. I got you, bro.
My man. You're the announcer from now on. I'm gonna bring it up. You the announcer. Thank you. All right, so Wilks, we'll go to you.
Yeah, it was just kind of just like I said, this getting the bag thing is taking over. So it's gonna be the topic of the night along with this movie. But it was just one of those moments where it's like, what are you willing not to do because you want these material things? Because somebody has told you, if you do this, then I will erase this. Is it really worth that? Because it's one of those things where it's like you've been doing it so long now. If that's your only way out is to have somebody bait you out of it, now they're baiting you into something else because you think, well, this is how I get over real quick, or this is I get in one time, that's it, I'm done. There was a scene where he was on the phone, on the payphone, saying that I did what you wanted me to do. I infiltrated, I got information, that's it, I'm done. And there was a point where they felt like, okay, well, he might be becoming one of them. Maybe he's thinking he's a part of this establishment. Mm-hmm. We've got to pull him back and pull that short leash and say, no, you're one of us, but you're not really one of us. Mm-hmm. So we have to keep you blind to the fact of the things that you're gleaming at, and you're not.
Isn't that life? Man, it look like corporate America sometime, and I done seen corporate America.
Right.
And there may be some of you watching. I knew. I wasn't fooled.
Right. It's one of those things. It's just like, you think you're one of us, but you're not one of us. But we can make you appear that you're one of us. But
for our benefit.
We can make you think. We can make you think. Now, so internally, even though he was dealing with that, he had the opportunity as the security officer or manager, I guess, if you will. Mm-hmm. He had the time they were in the shootout, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go on the roof. Internally, he was like I'm gonna let this person get killed, and he was like, well, it is what it is. I'm doing at that moment. I think he was no longer on the fence. I don't think he was really ever on the fence. I just think his his demons was haunting him. So he had to kind of turn around and see maybe I can do something different. But that was a really key point. Now let's bring it to Chairman Fred. He gets out, he comes home, he gives that speech where the FBI agent is there and Bill O'Neill is there. The FBI agent looks at Bill O'Neill like, man, you're really acting really well. He looked at him like, good job, boy. That's exactly how he looked at him.
Right.
Good job, boy. You doing your job. And Bill O'Neill was like, kind of got shook, like, yeah, I am doing my job, but I think I kind of care for these people.
Right.
And then the night where they're all sitting down, looks like they're having a real good plate, pork chops, greens, cornbread. They're having a real good meal.
Yeah.
He comes in there all shaking and nervous and gives them this, like, you want something else to drink. And he puts something in the drink. He ends up passing out. And and then, so HRap, I want you to touch on this, and I want you to give us that perspective that neither one of us would be able to give as to like what happened and what did you feel, or what did you feel when that happened?
Well, actually, you skipped over the important part that led up to that the pimps was in on it too. Because remember, that's
at the
man,
bar.
the rail made it.
Right.
That's right.
So that lets you know, if you do think you down, we got somebody, your replacement's in the wings.
Right.
And then he stopped, and that's when he semi-realized he wasn't down, because remember, this lady walk up to him, what's up with you? And he go, I work with the FBI. And Lil Rel say, they let niggas in the FBI now?
Mm.
Right. So,
that was a good role by Lil Rel too. He played that perfect.
But like, this is the part that touched my personal life. Like I told y'all, my dad was in each part of the movement, and my aunt Linda Brown, she was there. Okay, you know the scene when y'all don't know who he is, but Chicagoans know who he is. His name is he goes by the name of Congressman Bobby Rush as of right now. He's a pastor as well now. When Bobby Rush said, "Hey man, I got this thing to do with my family," and they was like, "All right, man, we holler at you." My aunt Linda left with Bobby. So I mean, it was pretty much played out exactly the way everybody I know said it was, man. They shot Mark Clark through the door. Shout out to the brother who did it, Brother King, who did it. And that scene when Sister Johnson said, she's been describing that scene my whole life. You know, I've heard about that scene my whole life. They shot him up. Everybody in the world said Fred was actually, he was supposed to be laying on the floor. I want to understand, Fred was laying on the floor, and they said he's gonna live. And they was like, no, he ain't. See, it's this dude named, like, the dude that y'all don't know about. It's the state's attorney dude who's just a sniveling coward. His name is Henry Hand. May he burn in hell. You know, none of that rest your soul for him.
Right.
So it's just a situation where man, I'm a back map to this point. Remember the scene? It was the second scene that Wild Bill was in. He was actually in the Panthers. This is after he got the car, and then they went to the these dudes den, so to speak, and then he went to their headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually this gang called the Black Peace. Well, they started off as the Black Peace Stone Rangers, and they elevated to the L Rookies. This is the biggest, most organized gang in the United States of America. When I was 14, they caught these dudes all over the country doing what they would do. So it's 1984. Their leader is in jail right now. I don't think it's for sedition, because they killed him for sedition. But whatever's right up under sedition, that's what he in jail. And they at one point like do a little research if you like. If you look up Fred Hampton's, just show you the respect that brother had and how they turned our community organizations into street gangs. The Black Panther Party of self-defense had so much respect in the city of Chicago. Y'all heard some of these gangs. One of the biggest gangs in the United States of America to this day, the Black Gangster Disciples, GDs, or they call them Folks. Y'all heard it, because I know they down in Texas as well. the gang that fathers that gang, Jeff Fort and that Latino gang, those leaders were honorary pallbearers at Fred's funeral.
Wow.
So I understand those gangs marched through his funeral to show his family we down.
Right.
So that was the beginning of the end of unity in the community, man. They literally, when they murdered Fred, they literally cut the head off the snake. And you know, Fred is a dude who has so much respect and so much influence that it's just like we got Raymond Washington, Tookie Williams, and that it's the same thing, man. It's these organizations were created not to wreak havoc on our communities. They were organized in the name of in the shadows of the Black Panther Party self-defense. So that's why you have people like Stokely Carmichael, president of the Student Nonviolent Community Committee, and you got people like HRap Brown, who I took his name. You know, these guys were freedom fighters. You got Geronimo Pratt, who used to be he used to have a heavy presence in Chicago, where they arrested him. These guys had no ill intent, and they were just a bunch of good brothers, man, that were annihilated. Bobby Rush went into hiding because this is the part of the story that nobody tells. Exactly, you know, you can clearly see the light-skinned brother with the goatee. He was like the number 2 in command, right?
Right.
He still looks like that. His hair is just gray now. That dude, it looked like he took Bobby Rush back in time. That's how close that guy was. But they went to Bobby's house and was going to do the same thing the next day.
Wow.
Yes, never heard that.
Bobby had to go into hiding and then link up with Reverend Jackson so he can be Bobby Rush, alderman, and now congressman to this very day. So this, you talk about terrorist organizations. You talking about Chicago Police Department. If y'all haven't seen the Chicago 7 on Netflix, check that out as well, man. See, this is a well documented. These are scantily documented points of our history because it was taught to me by, shout out to Dr. Greg Carr, the documentaries that are made by white-faced media are made so they can tell a story, and then you will perceive that you got the real story. But we ain't hear nothing about Bobby Rush being in high.
Right.
You hear nothing about anything. So these should lead you down rabbit holes to do what you and Dawkins, you three guys have done, and watch additional information so you can get the real story. But this is a perverted story, and man, I love it. Y'all said at the top of the show, I'm gonna say it till the day I die. Well, unless something else better comes on. This is my favorite movie in the world. I've literally watched it about 14 times, 14 times. But it just makes me continue to read more because, you know, Jeff Fort, he's portrayed as this deviant. He's a devil. But when you look up Jeff Fort on YouTube, it's this white cop that if you look at him, you think this dude is a bunch of brothers. And he was like, say what you want to say about Jeff Fort, but he got crack out of Chicago. So it's just a situation to whereas, man, as you watch this, it is a perfect piece of art. But Fred Hampton was a brother. He wasn't even from Chicago. He was from a west suburb called Bellwood. It's black. It's where Doc Rivers is from. He's from the same town Doc Rivers is from. So, you know, his family was middle class. Fred Hampton's mom used to beg. You ready for this? Remember how we were talking about, I was telling y'all about the ancestors always come together and push us in a direction so we get information. Watch this. We sitting here talking about this in my family connect. And then I got friends who live out that way. But this to show you how if you don't pay attention to your history, it will bite you clean in your behind. Fred Hampton's mother used to babysit who? Emmett Till.
Wow. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the reason, again, something I'm going to be speaking about tomorrow, it's the reason that we must consistently have forums like this, like Big Illinois. Shout out to Big Illinois. He said this when me and Ben, we were doing it with somebody else. And I think the guy from what's the other show? Ear Hustlers.
Ear Hustlers, yeah.
And he was like, man, we need shows like that. And we do, man, because we have to send people down rabbit holes. We need to drop down breadcrumbs. So just like Wilks said, he jumped in 10 fingers, 10 toes and realized that this dude, he didn't have this disposition of a suicidal human being.
Right.
He was bragging. His uncle is bragging that he looked at the Fed as a father figure. Y'all didn't even know that in y'all stead. You see how the ancestors continue to push this information into your spirit? And like I said on my show Saturday, I said that yesterday on the show, the Jaw Jackets. What we are doing is when we was snatched from the continent, I hope I'm not being too long-winded.
You're right.
When we were snatched from the continent, we would take it apart, dismembered.
Yeah.
And as we put these pieces together and learn our history, we remember. And what we're doing is representing our ancestors by representing the actual facts to our listeners and their friends and family, so we could be a stronger and more viable community. So that's why I enjoy doing, especially movies like this, and just talking about movies and documentaries of historic reference. And that's one of the reasons I should say this, but I'm not a big fan of Dr. Henry Louis Gates, because, and a lot of people, oh man, Dr. Gates, the man. Nah, I don't think so, because every time I watch one of his documentaries, he apologizes for the dominant culture for doing. He makes an excuse. Well, our ancestors were part of the transatlantic slave trade, but black people did it too. We know black people did it too, but if you're gonna tell black people did it too, also explain these are the people who wrote the Bible. These are the people who put Joseph. He turned Joseph into a slave from his brothers, turned him into a slave, and Joseph ultimately became king. So when you sell somebody on the continent, you sell them into slavery. You know what you're doing? You're putting them into slavery, and then your culture says they can ascend to a higher level. African culture does not say, I'm gonna catch Ben, Rap, Dog, Ivan, and I'm gonna take them over here, and then they're gonna be Fred, John, Jake, and Bill, and then we're gonna destroy it. We're gonna take their diet from them. We're gonna do all. It doesn't say that. So when I'm selling you again, okay, we're all North Americans, but you wouldn't. 100 years ago, when it was cool, or 200 years ago when it was fashionable, you really wouldn't have cared about a Mexican being put in slavery, because Mexicans, yeah, we're all from North America, but not really. Right. We wouldn't care about Canadians. You know, when something happens in Canada, or better yet, let's not even go back 100 years. Let's go back 500 hours. How many people thinking about Jackson, Mississippi right now? And they've been out, their power went out with y'all. You see, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. You see what I'm saying, dog?
Wow.
Their power went out with y'all power. Wow. If their water went out with y'all water, nobody in the country's talking about it.
You know, it's funny you say that, and I don't mean to cut you off there, but it's funny you said that, because I didn't think about it until you re-mentioned that. I saw somebody make a comment about that. I was looking at, of course, I was immediately looking at generators, standby generators for houses, and somebody in the comments said, hey, you know, in Mississippi, we've lost water and power here too, but you're not hearing about that. And somebody mentioned Louisiana. There were some places in Louisiana that lost, but it's not being reported. I didn't hear that.
Exactly. So that's why I'm disappointed in Henry Louis Gates. Yeah, because he does it with from academia, and then he brings in the same 4 or 5 academics from Yale, Harvard, you know, Princeton. Oh, smart Negroes. We can trust them. And then he does what I say Candace Owen does. You tell the truth. But Ben, HRap, Dawk, and Ivan, they hang out. That's the truth. But the real story is us 4 do a podcast together, simulcasted on Facebook and YouTube, talking about entertainment and other entities, that could either uplift us and or entertain us.
Right.
And we have fun doing it. But Candace Owens just say they just hanging out.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it's the truth.
Yeah.
But it's not.
But it's not the full. Yeah,
Not the whole truth. Yeah.
they just doing what other people do on YouTube. It's nothing special. That would be like her thing.
Yes.
And that was great insight. And so we definitely wanted to give you that opportunity because you were down the street. How old were you when?
I wasn't here yet.
You weren't here yet.
Literally, here's the irony. I was probably conceived that night because I was born literally 9 months after the assassination of Fred Hampton. So it takes 2 days for conception to take effect. So that was the 4th of December. I was born the 6th of August. So it was literally 9 months. So you're talking about Fred Hampton left the earth, and I took his spot.
Wow.
That's another African dish soul in his name.
Man.
So yeah, man. And then my dad busting his head back cop, and probably 90 days before that, he died April 4th. The irony, a freedom fighter gets hit in his head April, sometime except the fall. He dies on the same day Martin Luther King dies. He my dad.
Wow.
So it's just, man, it's that. I mean, and again, my disdain for brother Wild Bill is not because of my family and my connection. It's because y'all my family. Seriously, man, that could have been anybody, man.
Right.
Just okay, as well as we're doing as individuals right now, with the voice of Fred Hampton in your ears. We all grew up. Well, me and Doc, we're a little older, y'all. Me and Doc grew up listening to Public Enemy, and we must you forgotten we were robbed of our name. That perked me and Doc up back in the 80s.
Don't believe the hype. It's a sequel. Right. As an equal, can I get this through to you?
These things perked us up.
Yeah.
And what happens if Fred lives? Let's just say Fred lives to the same day our brother Huey Newton lived. You know how much difference that makes?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. So that's why it angers me in the fact that you set up. You know what, man? I don't use those words like bootlegger, Tom, cool. But just imagine if these guys who sold us out, I like to imagine that most of them feel guilty. When the end result is this, I always say he has to feel guilty. But me and Wilks saw this dude.
He was relishing it. Like,
man, this dude was bragging. He sound like KRS-One rapping about this, man.
Yeah, let's touch on that. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're just gonna say you can really make that observation in watching the movie, because think about how he kept coming into the restaurant. He had flashier and flashier suits on every time he comes. He comes sunglassed up. He come with the swag. So you can tell in that there wasn't no guilt in that, And when they talk about the amount of money that he was paid, it was the equivalent of $200,000 in today's money, today's value. That's how much he got paid back then for doing what he did, And
one more thing, they want to tell us that he was so rife with guilt that he killed himself.
Right.
But he came out of witness protection 8 years before.
Right.
You don't leave witness protection guilty.
Right. And do an interview.
So, let's get to that right now. So the movie ends. I'm trying to remember the last scene.
Him talking.
Him talking in the Eyes on the Prize.
Yeah.
So after this is over, he still is infiltrating the Black Panther Party for another 7 years, I think. And while he's doing that, he knows that he was the person that killed Fred Hampton. Let me give a quick shout out to Keith Ingram. I know this name because I know him.
This joker just say Fred Hampton, man. The gospel singer. It's Fred Hampton, man.
I said Hampton. That's what I said.
You said Fred Hampton, man.
So after the movie's over, he continues to infiltrate.
I'm at my door. I'll be right back.
Okay, and he does this. He does this while he knows what he did in his part in this, and then it gets to the eyes on the prize, and he was Wilks. He was bragging. He was like He was saying we did this. We were a part of taking down this party, and I felt proud about what I did. And I felt like I really was doing something great. And I was doing something for a greater cause. I mean, he was saying all this as if he like won the Nobel Prize or something. The way he was describing it. So there was like pride, there was passion.
Yeah.
There was like, this was a successful thing I did in my life. So after I seen that, I was like, there's no way this dude could have killed himself.
Yeah.
There's no way.
He was like, I was in the struggle.
Right.
I was a part of it.
The way he looked when he said that, I was in the struggle. I'm thinking, man, it's almost like you got split personality. What do you mean you were in the struggle? You were in the struggle of trying to decide do I want to go through with this, or what did I get myself into? You know, it's one of those things where it's like in the interview, no watery eyes. He didn't get tearful. His voice didn't tremble. I mean, he was ready to go.
Big Illinois, I see you. Look what Big Illinois said, man.
Come on, man.
That's my man, Big Illinois.
Chris is backing y'all up. You said Hammond. I heard that also.
Thank you, Chris.
My bad. I love y'all. Sorry. So, all right, HRap. Well, give me your. I know you kind of touched on it already, but just to be able to continue to do that, and then the eyes on the prize. That's what we're kind of talking about now. That was a brag session. They brought him on there to say whatever he had to say, but I don't even know if they knew that's what he was going to say and how he said it. He was happy. He was prideful. It's like he got a Medal of Honor for doing what he did.
Yeah. That's why I keep telling anybody who will listen to me. Homeboy ain't kill himself. Chris Chrisman, he allegedly killed himself down the street from Chris Chrisman's house. I'm going to ask, watch this. Chris, what's the chances on somebody in Chicago killing themselves on Costner at the 290? And you will see. You'll see what I mean right now. Dude, that don't happen. I'm telling you, that's literally like those overpasses. Y'all have overpasses. We have overpasses and entrenched interstates.
Yeah.
You ain't going down there. Right. You might die on the way down because the car gonna hit you on the way down. People in Chicago drive like they the back of their car on fire, man. You know, if you want to get died by if you want to commit suicide, walk your behind out on Madison Avenue tonight. You are not gonna see the morning. Right? Hey, bro, it's 10:18 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you walk out in front of any car in Chicago, tell God I said hi. I'm telling you, man. So I'm like, hold on, he killed himself on the 290.
Yeah.
Nah.
It was almost like he truly felt like he was an FBI agent. He felt like his paychecks was from the FBI and he was on the staff. Like he was walking into the office every day getting his assignment. That's exactly the way it was delivered. So, you know, for him to continue to do that throughout this entire time, knowing what you did, and I'm just wondering, at what point did people realize that he was the one? Was it the eyes on the prize when they realized, or at what point was it that they realized it was O'Neal?
That's a great question.
Maybe that's something we gotta look up and research. Yeah.
But put like this, maybe up until the end, because the dude who was in on the Malcolm X assassination is told on himself the day before the anniversary this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then the other dude who set them up who let William Hayden them rot in jail, he didn't tell until 77.
Yeah.
So
same thing with Emmett Till and that lady on her deathbed.
Right.
I mean,
Man,
like,
she burned.
so Judas and the Black Messiah. It was exactly like the title said. It was Judas. It didn't go deep into his background, but it gave you who he was, like what he stood for and who he was, and it took it from there on. And it was like as clear as day throughout all of the different things that he did, that he was chasing the bag. Like you said, the bag has consequences, and that consequence was his conscience, and then him being whatever ended up happening to him. I believe that is a direct correlation to what he decided to do and decisions that he made. So that brings us to this point. If you guys want to touch and add anything else on to the conversation, to the movie, as we get ready to wrap it up. And also I wanted to touch on HRap, the connection between the crowns. I didn't know who the crowns were.
That's a fictitious game. That's really, remember
game?
When they were in the car and they said, just imagine the Crowns, the Stones, and the GDs get together with the Black Panther Party. The cops ain't ready for that. The Crowns is not that.
Oh, okay.
That's not even real.
The Crowns and the Black Stones the same game. As a matter of fact, alleged, from what I understand, that scene when dude gave him the gun, that's real. See, told you, Chris, agreed. No way. I'm about to send y'all a picture. I knew I had this on my phone. I'm about to send this to the group. A picture of what is dude. They telling you that because in order to get hit on the 290, you got to dance between the L train, a subway train. So you mean to tell me he danced between the subway train and he got hit by the truck? No, hey man. If that's like my mom said, if that's the lie you want to die with, you're gonna die with it in your mouth.
Yeah. I did not know that. I thought the Crowns was a real thing. Man, they played that part up, and that's why in movies there's always some added
creative liberties.
Exactly.
Now, okay, in a second, y'all open up the group text and y'all look at the picture of where he allegedly jumped from. I knew because I used to take pictures of the city a lot.
Come on, man.
Oh wow.
Come on.
So you mean to tell me he jumped? He didn't hit the train.
Right.
He ran down there. He ran to the side to where those cars are. He ran to the left of those cars, ran down the ramp, and then ran out there.
Right.
Come
on, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Negative.
Now y'all see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what Chris said? They got a Hollywood license to say that. Yeah. No. Hey, Chris, this is what the people are saying. Unless you're speaking about the game.
The Crowns, yeah. He talking about the creative liberties,
See, okay, the Crowns is not real, but just understand this is over 150 games in Chicago.
Wow, 150.
And I think it's like 212, but I know for sure it's 150.
Which one was Jimmy J.J. Evans in? That's what I want to know.
The Crown. The Crown. The same nights are the sister gang to the Crown. Now, if you really want to hear, okay, I got you too, cute. If you really want to hear something funny, next time you watch Cooley High, they are announcing real games.
Okay.
He was like, "Hey,
I know that about Cooley.
That's a real game."
What, Wilks?
I said I didn't know that about Cooley High. Some of those.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I thought you said you ain't seen Cooley High.
I grew up in that.
Mom would slap me upside the head if I ain't never watched no Cooley High. I used to drive a white Maserati over there for a white rich old lady.
Yeah, hey, man. That's a real. Because the Cooley High, remember they were at the theater. He said, "Hey man, you in my spot.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who gonna move me?
Yeah.
You in what army?" He said, "Me in this army." Disciple.
Yeah.
That's a real game.
Yeah.
And Satan Kings, that's a real.
No, that's
Satan Knights, man. Satan Knights, man. Satan Knights, man.
Glance at it, man. Glance.
What is it? Which is California etiquette. When did you get here?
I don't know.
That's the same Knights used to fight the crowns.
All right. Go ahead, HRap.
Yeah, I used to just take pictures, and I'm like, damn, I know I got a picture of that. Yeah, man. No, sir.
Yeah.
So y'all see why when they said he committed suicide on the two, like they said he committed suicide just about anywhere. You know what? That is not. You see that train? That train is a train like that flows through every interstate in the city of Chicago. So you ain't running down there and then running out. You saw that bridge right there.
Yeah. Why didn't jump off of
bridge? Yeah.
He was like going through an obstacle course. He was working hard for it.
Like it's the trains, the L train. It's one part on like 63rd, and when I used to work for the CTA, and when they're training you have to walk over the interstate, and it used to be. I mean, it's literally like 30 stories up, and I remember instructor boys saying, "Don't worry about it, Williams. Don't worry about falling down there. The truck gonna kill you before the ground. The truck that's gonna hit you gonna kill you before the ground." So yeah, man. If you want to die in Chicago, it's a whole lot easier ways than running down and running. People in Chicago can't drive, man.
Going on a double dare competition to try to commit suicide. So that's Judas and the Black Messiah. Let's go around. Anything you wanted to add that we didn't touch on, Wilks?
No, not really. HRap, he did bring up I forgot about the pimp scene. That was a pretty interesting scene there, because now I'm wondering, was the lady a setup too, or was she?
I was thinking that, man.
Like, is she a setup?
I was thinking that.
Just randomly walked over to the brother and sat down like you've seen him before. You know,
he wasn't that much better looking than Lil Rail is.
Right. Right.
That was a perfect role.
That was a real interesting scene. I enjoyed that scene. And like I said, I was just kind of curious when I watched it the second time. And actually, by the way, I believe it is no longer on HBO Max. I think they removed it today. But so it was just one of those things. When I saw that scene, I didn't think about it the first, and then the second time, I'm like, man, I wonder if she was in on it. She never came back.
Right. That is.
So it was limited. It was limited access, or
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was.
Oh no, they only keep them for a certain period of time. I think 30 days or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering also too, going back to that lady. I wonder, was he pimping her, or maybe she was in on it? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, there's always that could be a deeper. Deeper. I mean, that's probably the part that they want.
There were parts where I also read that supposedly before they even had Wild Bill infiltrate the Black Panther Party, they had him on a string for a year before they used it to go. Yeah, to infiltrate, because they had other. They said they had other
7. Yep, 7. He said he had 7 informants in there.
Yeah, he had other informants.
Well, the guy that murdered a Black Panther, if you remember that part, he was also infiltrating.
That's right.
He was that guy to basically cover himself.
Yeah. What was he? I can't remember what office he was from. Maybe Peoria or something like that.
No. That's an actual story.
Yeah. What office was he from? That guy. Oakland. Okay.
And what this is again, this sent me down the rabbit hole. They had this dude going from state to state.
Right.
That portion was 100% correct. He was going to state, and when he showed up, because he was on the run, they gave them legal right to raid the Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
Wow. And they kept dropping tidbits too, like they only got our rolls, they only got our enrollment rolls. They didn't go to nothing else. They got the weapons and our membership rolls.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So they knew who to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, Doc.
Yeah. For me, it was okay. First of all, I want to touch on what we talked about a little police brutality in here, right? A couple of things. The first is that whenever they raided the headquarters, they showed a little statistic that the Black Panther Party shot one time and the cop shot 99 times, number one. And number two, the scene, one of the most powerful for me. And it actually, the second time I watched it, I guess I was in my feelings or something like that, but I felt my allergies start acting up and running tears down my face. That was when he was talking to Jimmy Butler mama, in the kitchen drinking that coffee, right? That's when he mentioned in the movie that his mom used to babysit Emmett Till, because she was talking about how his mama lost him, I lost my baby, whatever. And so that was an emotional scene for me, and I literally typed in my notes getting ready for this. I'm like, man, I'm sick and tired of black mamas having to bury their sons and daughters, man. I'm fed up, sick of it, man, for nonsense, And it brought me back to the scene earlier when they were trying to figure out and ask Wild Bill, say, man, why you use a badge? Why an FBI badge? And he said, because the badge is scarier than a gun. He goes, because when you see that badge, they think I got a whole army behind me, but when I got this gun, it's just me, So those two, that comment, a line in the movie, and of course that scene where he was speaking with Jimmy Butler mama after he had been assassinated in a hospital, basically, were just powerful, and it it just evoked those feelings, man, that I'm just sick of it, everywhere we turn, it's the same situation.
Yeah. And the mother is having to figure out what to do from there. I mean, having to figure out how to go on with your life without your son, when your son should really be burying you. I mean, that in a normal situation.
Natural order of things. Yeah.
And especially when you got the world painting your child as a stigma.
Right.
Because had he not had this, or she had this in her system, or had she not hung out with this person, or had he not been, it's like, that's what you're doing. Like, that's what you use. That's what you use to make yourself feel good. Is that, well, they had this in their system. That person doesn't deserve to die because they had that in their system.
And I might have said Jimmy Butler. That's the basketball player. I met Jimmy Palmer, So, HRap, let me ask you this: did they name that hospital or a community hospital after Jimmy Palmer? Was that legit? When he got that money at the end? Okay, so that was creative liberty. So you remember when the guy from the quote unquote Crowns gave him that money, so they were trying to talk him into fleeing, Chairman Hampton, and he said, take this money and start that community hospital so they'll remember Jimmy Palmer's name and tie it to healing,
Yeah.
That wasn't legit.
See, okay, I don't know anything about that hospital. Chicago got a medical district that's like 6-7 hospitals. And then on the west side, it's only one hospital. And then near west side, it's by the Cabrini Green. It's called Henry Rollin. And I know you didn't want to go there either. You feel like that you get shot near Henry Rollin. I know people who got shot near Henry Rollin was like, look, take me to the county. I'm going to die over there.
It's like going to Parkland.
Yeah, so that was just Liberty's Jackson Park Hospital. So
That's you the president, Wilks.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, what was the money?
I'm trying to find this other picture so y'all get even a daytime view of it. But
was the money that was given?
This is what I want y'all to understand too, man. In regards to racism, as bad a rap as Texas gets for racism, Chicago's worse. Don't take my word for it. And I quote, I didn't see this type of racism in Birmingham, Alabama. Quote attributed to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've heard that too. I heard that quote. Yeah.
So man, it's okay. If you don't believe, and if anybody who's watching chooses to go, man, maybe he's exaggerating. My man Kirby, Ben, you know Kirby. He usually comes to the show.
Yeah.
Kirby was in this one neighborhood called Bridgeport 2-3 years ago. It was on a Sunday night. They were coming from church, and they stopped off and got a couple sandwiches or whatever to eat in this restaurant. A team of white guys came in and watched them eat and stood there and watched them until they left. This century.
I can believe it.
So when people try to tell you that, oh man, you've been okay. This is an even better view of what I was talking about. This picture is even better. I sent this from 2Q too. But so when if they did a documentary on the racism in Chicago, I think they came up with redlining in Chicago because, hey man, like I was telling Ben this before the show started. I've had people tell me, man, that's horrible because I went to an all-black preschool, elementary school, and I've never sat in the classroom with a non-black person. And people, oh, that's terrible. I'm like, to you, it was great to me, but hey, man, like me and Big Illinois has a show to come. He hiatus right now, but 4th of July weekend here in Chicago, 50 people were shot. And people were like, man, brothers need to get it together. Me and Big Illinois looked up the shootings. Bruh, in Chicago, you can tell what culture is somewhere. Just like if you said, blah, 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 and I go, that's what the Mexicans live. Da, 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 da. Oh, that's what the Puerto Ricans live. Da, da, da. Little village is Italian, Italian and Mexican. Ukraine village, duh.
African?
right. So you give me an address in Chicago, I can tell you what culture lives there. And that situation was those shootings were all over the city, but we got credit for them.
Yeah.
We got credit for it. And then the funny thing was, we were in the pre-show thing, like me and Ben, and Big Illinois was like, nah, man, brothers don't think that. I said, okay, ask them when they get on the show. And these are our family members, man. And they were like, yeah, man, bro. And one of them literally said, man, brothers need to get their act together. He was like, nah. Like, if you talk about 2400 West on Devon, that's a Muslim community. People got shut up there. Rogers Park, that's a relatively affluent neighborhood. People got shut up there. Me and Kirby was talking a couple of days ago. He was like, man, this is never gonna get. I said, yeah, and right around the corner where you live ain't gonna be on TV because they were in Boys Town, the gay neighborhood. They call it Boys Town. For those who LGBTQ people watching, that ain't my nickname. That's y'all nickname. Boys Town. Dude got shot right in there. And these are not like the downtrodden gay people. It's like literally miles away from the lake. So this is high end living.
Yeah.
So
high end property.
Yeah, high end property. So murder. Well, it was a shooting. I don't know if it was a yellow tape. I don't know if the person died. But like in Chicago, they use yellow tape for shootings, red tape for DOA. So yeah, man. I mean, Chicago, home of the redlining. So it's trust me, man. You tell me where you live. You give me the 100 block that you live in. I live 6300. I live 3500 South, 800 West. Oh, you live on Halsted and 31st Street. That's Bridgeport. Me and my buddy used to call that area NNA. No niggas allowed.
TC said Bridgeport bogus.
Yeah, that's the neighborhood I was just telling y'all about.
Yeah.
Look, highlight what Naisha said. Don't go there after dawn. It was this white guy, this white Jewish guy worked for the Chicago Tribune a few years ago. It was about 12, 13 years ago. He said something bad about the Cubs. It's something anti-Cubs. He was in Bridgeport, which traditionally a White Sox fan, because he's Jewish and walked through that tunnel, put him in the hospital. It's a reporter.
Wow.
Because he said something about the Cubs, the baseball team?
Yeah. How about this? That picture I'm about to send y'all. Well, you saw the picture how the interstate separates both sides of town. The interstate literally separated blacks from whites. That's why I talk about this on my show a lot. How if you're in a town, like if you're in like LA and DeGradis confirmed it, or Chicago, the interstate traditionally separates where white people used to live versus where black people. Every thriving community in the United States of America at some point got cut in half by interstate. Liberty City, Florida, where in Miami, it's a thriving all black community. this documentary on that Amazon Prime. Cut it right in half with the interstate.
Wow.
So, it's just this is another picture to give y'all an idea of what I was talking about as well. And that's right around. That's literally right around the corner from my crib. This one I'm about to send y'all. That's how you know when. Oh man, he killed himself. Hey man, he was trying too hard. Nobody. That's too hard of an account. And that's just half. What I just sent y'all is half of the interstate. It used now. That's about 7 p.m. that y'all looking at. So you mean to tell me a dude ran his behind out in that? Nah. And you see the thing in the backdrop to the left? That's the slope that you would have to run down to get in there.
That look like Dolphin in 35.
Dolphin in 30, man.
Hey, expand it, and you'll see what I meant. How you would literally have to jump a 5-foot high gate and run down.
Run down, yep. That's what I'm looking at it right now.
So if they want to tell us that dude did that, you got too much energy for somebody trying to die.
Yeah, you're doing too much. You halfway tired by the time you get over there.
Hey, read what 2Q just said.
If you black, when you leave the White Sox game, you better not go opposite direction of the L.
Yeah.
The
L train.
The L train was east. If you went west, tell your mama to meet you at the county. They're gonna beat some of the black up off you that night.
Oh, I bet.
And if you're on the bus going west, what she did mention, if you're on the bus going west, they throwing bricks at the bus.
Chris said, "Can you post the picture for everyone to see?" Yeah, I can do that. Hold on one second. And one of
those pictures is down by Chris' house. And one on right around the corner. The last one was just a one-dimensional shot with the traffic. That's by my house. That's right around the corner from my house. That's why when they was like, he died on 290 in another city, and nobody. Hey, now if they said he jumped off the thing onto 290 and got hit by one of them trucks, I'd be like, yeah. But you gonna jump a 5-foot high fence, run down a 3-story, basically 3 stories, and then kill yourself? Okay, well, I mean,
you got time to rethink
at night, not last night.
So there you go, right there. That's the first one that you sent us.
Yep.
So that means he would have down by the tracks for everybody that's watching is where he would have had to go.
Now he'd have had to go all the way to the left, and then jump a fence, and then run downstairs.
And then this is not that. This right here. Then this is the other photo. So you would have had to sharing the screen. That's what happened. Oh, he said TC is Brian.
Oh, that's TC from Jaw Jacking. My bad. I thought that was my homie Too Cute. My fault, TC.
Yeah, he was probably like, "Don't call me that."
My fault, TC. My bad, bro.
So that's the other image right there. All right, y'all. Well, another great episode of the Fourcast. Great conversation. HRap, thank you for everything that you contributed. We'll be back next week, same time. We'll get together on a topic, and we will obviously that'll be posted whenever we promote. But thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. Make sure to like, subscribe, click that bell if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, give us a thumbs up. If you're on Twitter, retweet it, share it, and like it. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. So, Wilks, appreciate you. And HRap.
Later.
Check me out tomorrow at 5 p.m., man.
Yes, sir.
Follow me at Brian D. Williams on Facebook or follow me on Instagram and Twitter at HRap_B. You'll get it. Come in, say, hey man, it sucked, or come in and say what you got to say. But as long as you watch it,
That's right.
hit the like button Sunday, then Saturday do it again. Then Sunday hit me, my man TC. I thought that was too cute to DJ. My bad, TC. My man TC, me, him, and our brother Bob. We do a show called Jaw Jackins. Just we talk about anything. And anybody welcome to come in and laugh and joke and talk crazy with us.
Yeah,
because
End of the Bench podcast is it's on YouTube. Type in End of the Bench podcast, you'll be able to find it. Excuse me. Make sure to like and subscribe to his channel as well. Great content. Get more. What you laughing at?
Wilks trying to get right. He took him another sip. He know the show over now. He's trying to get it right.
Y'all have a good night. And
all right, man.
next week.
All right, let me send these pictures to TC.